Rosemary the Celtic lady. She has a lot of amazing information to share with us today, along with a phenomenal picture that she has captured. Rosemary the Celtic lady is founder of the American, Canadian, and UK Associations of Psychics and Healers, which are now all part of Global Psychics and Healers. She is a world-renowned psychic medium and medical intuitive, minister, motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, teacher, and author of 2 books. Peace for the Universal Peace Federation, and was honored as a guest at the International United Nations Conference in May of 2005 in Cairo, Egypt. She has a workshop today at 5 o'clock. Thank you. Her workshop details. It is, are you ready to learn to heal yourself from all physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional traumas? So I suggest that you ask yourself that, and I'm sure we can all relate to all of that. Please purchase a ticket after this if you are interested in taking her workshop. Everybody give a round of applause to Rosemary the Celtic lady.
Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me in the back? I speak very loud sometimes, so if it's too much, let me know. So my name's Rosemary, as you all heard. I'm a psychic medium and medical intuitive. I live here in Estes Park. Moved here in 1997 and have not left since. I love living in Estes Park because for me, it's very grounding. There's a lot of quartz and everything in the mountains here. And for me, I used to travel all the time. And I've lived in 127 places worldwide. And finally, I found my home, and it's right here. As you can probably tell, I'm not from here. I'm from another planet. No, just kidding. Well, actually, I'm not. But anyway, I am from Glasgow, Scotland, and I moved to the States in 1994. I'm a permanent resident now. I live here, but I spend time in Canada and also spend time in the UK. So today, I've decided to really come everybody here with a kind of little bit of a different approach. I've been working and doing mediumship and been working with spirits as far back as I can remember, maybe in my early teens. I think my first memory of even doing any kind of work, working with beings from beyond this dimension, was like I was 7 years old, maybe 6 even. And I always knew that I needed to come to the United States to do my work, and here I am now. And little did I know this little pauper of a girl living in Glasgow, Scotland, would end up in a place as beautiful as this and be an ambassador for peace and be doing all the other things that I do now. So I'm really honored because Spirit's chosen me to come and do this work. And they've put me in the right place at the right time, and things always seem to fall into place the way they're supposed to. So I have an amazing guide called Joshua, and Joshua's been working with me since I was a kid, but he also brings in these other beings who work with me from time to time. Now, I don't know if any of you can see this picture here, and you can all come by my booth later and look at it. Come by and I'll explain a little bit more to you about it as well, but I'm going to talk to you about it today. For years now, since 2007, excuse me while I drink some water here. Since 2007, I've been doing what I call prayer work, and every full moon, 3 days before the full moon, during the full moon, 3 days after, that's my prayer week. And I spend time in prayer. I don't do any other work. Spirit brings my phone lines to a grinding halt for the whole week. And I pray for humanity. I pray for the planet. I pray for anyone that sends me in prayer requests. So you can all go to my website and send me your prayer requests. And I've been doing this since 2007 now, a long time. And while I was doing it, these beings were coming in and talking more with me. And I'm like, you guys used to talk to me when I was a kid. I know if I have this connection with you. And I didn't really realize that these big, tall men that were coming in, which, every woman fantasizes about, these tall, beautiful men coming in. I had this one being that used to come to me all the time, but he had this long kind of white flowy hair. I couldn't see his face, and his body was like chiseled, but you didn't really see the body. All I could feel when I touched him was it was almost like dolphin skin and like bubble wrap, it was all bubbled. So I think it was kind of what do you call a facade or a coat of armor that he was wearing. So I've been communicating with this being for a long, long time, and finally I says, look, I really need some real proof, real photographic evidence of what you look like. And I'm insisting that you give this to me. And I insisted this about maybe 3 or 4 months back, maybe 5 months back. And I kept praying. Every prayer week would come around. And even when I wasn't praying during my prayer week, I was doing my meditations. I would say, okay, come on, you guys, I really want some proof here. So one afternoon, I was taking a picture of my dog, Hannah Banana. And this was about 6:30 in the evening, 7 o'clock. And my kid, Castle, who's in New York, he's a model. He's like, Mom, send me a picture of Hannah Banana because I'm really homesick. And I'm like, okay. So I take a picture of Hannah. I go in and I lay down on my bed and I thought, I think I might maybe meditate for a few minutes. So I had the phone in my hand like this. And I was just kind of holding it like this. Fingers are out of the way, camera's turned off, everything. And I thought, I'll send a picture in a few minutes. I just want to meditate for a little while before I send the picture. And I was kind of out of it a little bit, and all of a sudden I heard click, my phone went, and I thought, oh, maybe I should send that picture to Castle. And when I opened up my phone, this picture was on my phone. And I looked at it and I went, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? I went, no, hell no, it can't be. And then I heard as loud as anything in my voice, and they're like, well, you asked for it and you got it. And I was like, oh my God. I was like freaking out. I was calling on my friends. You would believe it. I got on my phone. I got an ET. I've got an actual ET on my phone. And they're like, what? Send it over the picture. So everybody's like, I'm sending it out through Facebook and everything. Some people are like, oh, this is not real. I went, you know what? It's as real as it is real. You just look at my phone. It's on my phone. It gives the date, the time, and everything when it was taken. And it was in my bedroom. He was standing at the bottom of my bed. I didn't see him. I was kind of out of my body. And there's a profile at the end of my bed. And he literally, if you look here, later on you can come by and see, his arm is really long here. And they say he, but it's actually they. They prefer to be referred to as they. So he, she, there's about 5 or 6 souls within this being. So he said, just refer to us as they. And I'm like, okay, kind of hard to do that. Oh, you're used to saying he and she, And so anyway, so here I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Everybody's going to go ape about this. The comments I got, some of them were really great. Some were like, I don't know. I don't quite believe this. You probably took a picture of something off a magazine, whatever. I'm like, believe whatever you want to believe. I know it's truth. And so anyway, he came in later that night and he came in and started talking to me. He says, you already know me. You've been talking with me for years. I says, so this is really you, what you really look like? And he's like, yes, this is what I really look like. I went, cool. And I says, well, why are you finally showing yourself to me now? He says, well, you've been asking to see me in the true form that I am. He says, and when we come in, sometimes we come in human form or other kinds of forms, depending on what a person is comfortable with. And I said, oh, okay. So before I wasn't really comfortable with seeing an ET, but I was definitely comfortable with maybe seeing a nice, tall, blonde man in my bedroom. And they have a sense of humor. They really do. Some people say, beings from other dimensions don't have a sense of humor. This one really kicks it out of the park sometimes. So anyway, I says, well, how did you take the picture? He says, well, and it just kind of, this is all going on telepathically, by the way. It's not me doing this back and forth talking. We're actually mind melding, it's something out of Star Trek, So I'm laying there and we're talking back and forth. And he's like, well, when you were meditating, you asked and you kept saying, can you give me photographic proof? It says, and by chance you had the phone in your hand. So I just decided to reach over. So his arm extended right across the bed and it's twig-like. It's almost like 3 or 4 twigs on the end, and he literally just touched the phone and the phone took a selfie. So he says, I took a selfie of myself. So this just cracked me up. I started laughing because I'm thinking, an ET selfie? Who the hell's got an ET selfie out there? This is too funny. So, so we continued to communicate a little bit more. And then I realized that with this being, that when he started telling me stuff, it was like, you have talked with me for so long, I'm surprised that you don't recognize me. I says, well, I recognize you now that I can see you, And he's like, well, I communicate with your son as well. And my son Castle was actually female to start with. Started out as a female for the first 16 years of his life, and always knew he was androgynous, always knew my kid was different, and kind of had that just twinkle in his eye. And I thought, I don't know whether my kid's female or male, but I knew when I was pregnant, I told the doctors I was carrying a boy, and they said, no, you're carrying a girl. I'm like, no, I'm carrying a boy. No, you're carrying a girl. Like, no, I'm carrying a boy. And I argued back and forth with them. My kid came into the world, and it was a girl that was born, but now I have a boy, because my child has now went from a teen girl to trans male now, and actually just come out in W magazine this week. It's an amazing story. Anyway, so my kid at 3 years old told me when he was in the back of the car with me one day, we're driving down to Loveland, and he's sitting behind me. He is 2.5 to 3 years old, and said, Mama, you do know that I'm not from this planet, don't you? And I'm like, what? Almost drove my car off the road, because my kid's in the back of the car talking to me. He goes, I'm an Arcturian. I don't come from here. In fact, we consider planet Earth one of the lowest vibrational planets in this universe and within this whole solar system. This is a 3-year-old, not even 3 years old yet, telling me this. And I was like, you gotta be frigging kidding me. This is out of this world, you know? So here I am driving down the road to Loveland, and my kid is explaining to me a lot of things about the planet that he came from. I said, this doesn't surprise me at all. I've got an amazing kid. He knows who he is. Doesn't surprise me that he's an Arcturian. Now he doesn't even want to talk about it. He's like, whatever, don't even tell anybody about this. He's like, sorry, hon, I'm out here and I'm telling people now. I know he loves me, so he'll forgive me. But anyway, the funny thing about it is kids get these communications with these beings from other dimensions at a very young age. And I realized I was a star child, starseed, when I was 6 or 7 years old. And I used to have this twin, a soul twin, and his name was Ralph. And Ralph's mom and my mom were in the hospital at the same time. She was in one bed, my mother was in the other. Ralph and I were born the same day, and we both had our birthdays the same day. We were 2 hours apart. And about 5 years later, I'm in this small town that's 7 miles away from where I live. Ralph's across the other side of the street. Pure white hair, I waved to him, he waved to me, I had pure white hair as well. Brown eyes, he had brown eyes. And then about a year later, he moves in across the street from me. And I find out his cousins married one of my cousins, living across the street from me. And I'm thinking, this is weird. So here I am, and I've never really talked about this before, so you guys are getting first-hand info here. It's kind of spooky and it's kind of scary when you go through this stuff when you're a kid growing up. So here I am, I'm like, I've got this whole telepathic connection going on with this kid across the street that I didn't really know. Then I find out that his mom and my mom had been in hospital together. We were born the same day, we were the same birthdays, everything. When we went to school together, everybody thought we were twins because we looked alike. We looked like each other. And then he had an older brother, James, who was born 2 years before us, birthday the same day as well. So we had a lot of experiences as kids, really unusual experiences. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when he came in, then I recognized my connection that I had with him. It was when I was a child. Need more water, hang on. Got to keep hydrated here. Okay, so our first experience, Ralph and I, used to at night when I would go to bed, I'd stand at the window and I'd look up at the stars, and I'd put my hand up on the window, and he would go to his window and put his hand up on the window. Neither of us would go to sleep until we saw the other one. And we did this for years. Ralph, God rest him, passed over. He passed over 2 years ago. And I was fortunate to, that people believed a lot of the experience. They believed that I was psychic, and I really took the bull by the horns and really followed my path. And he tried to, but nobody believed him. And certain people locked him up and threw away the key kind of thing. He ended up getting into drugs and pot and stuff and all this other stuff. And finally, it just took his life when he was 51 years old. And his death almost killed me, I thought. You know, I was closer to him than I was to even my mother. And when we were kids one day, we were playing this game called Two-Man Hunt. So Ralph and I, we had to go hunt everybody else. So like 10 kids in the neighborhood, all running all over the place, hiding, and we had to go find them. So Ralph and I are running up this big hill, and we call it the workies. The workies is where all the brickmen put all their, their bricks and their mortar and their sand, and it's a corporation council people. They do fix the houses. They have all this stuff here. So we're running up this hill, and all of a sudden we stop dead. And there's these four beings standing in front of us, and they're in these silver-looking kind of suits, and they had these helmets on. And I thought maybe at first they might be motorcyclists, because the suit's kind of like, but they also look out of this world. And I'm thinking, Jesus, what the heck's that, Ralph? And he goes, I don't know. Next thing I know, Ralph and I are standing, looking at each other. My mother's coming around the corner behind us, and she's shouting, Rosemary, Ralph, where the hell have you two been? And I'm like, and then she's like, hurry up, come run towards me, And so we run down towards my mom. At this point, my mother saw these beings in front of us, the four of them as well. And I went, Mom, did you see that? And she's going, shh, don't tell anybody what you saw. And Ralph, don't you tell anybody now. And I'm like, okay, Auntie Madge, because they call my mom Auntie Madge. And that was one of our first experiences. But my mom said we were gone for about nearly 3 hours. I said, where are all the kids? We were playing two-man hunt. My mom says, they've all gone home. They get fed up waiting for you guys to find them, so they all went home. And I went, well, where did they go? They went, they left 3 hours ago. And I was like, what? We've been out here 3 hours? And at this point, the dusk is coming in. It's getting dark, We started out at 6. It's now 9 o'clock. And my mom was like, almost 9 o'clock. Get home before your dad gets in from work. So we go back home, and my mom lectured me, do not tell anyone what you saw. And I believe my mother did that because my mother's seen them a lot. And where I lived in Scotland, we lived close to a lot of farmland, so we used to get a lot of flying saucers. We'd come in there all the time. And nobody really batted an eyelid about it because it was just kind of a common occurrence for, the farmers and that to see that kind of stuff. But when you live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of the neighbors that are all real close to each other, you can't talk about it because then the neighbors start talking about you and talking about your mom. And next thing you know, mom's alienated from the whole clan, My mom's like, shh, don't tell anyone. So, and then our next experience after that was another night. We were all playing two-man hunt. They always come in, we're playing two-man hunt. And, and I remember that one time, it was a spacecraft. There was a bunch of them in the sky. There was maybe about 10 of them in the sky. I don't know how big they were. But this thing on this head here is the shape of the spacecraft. It's almost like it goes down like a V, then it comes up in 2 points at the end. And when I saw him and I saw this shape thing on his head, I thought, oh my God, that's triggering something with me that I saw when I was a kid. And he said, well, yeah, we came in and we connected with you years ago. And all of you, well, everyone that was playing two-man hunt, we were all cousins and kissing cousins, and we're all related. Ralph lived across the street from me. There was me, Ralph, Eric, the brothers, James. Then there was Stephen, the cousin across the street. And there was Billy, and then there was my other cousin, Thomas, and Sandra. So there was about 12 of us kids. And we all played together. And that night, I believe all 12 of us were, I don't want to say abducted, because I don't have any bad memories of these guys. People, when they talk about abductions, they think, oh yeah, you're getting poked and prodded. I believe I had an agreement with them to come in and do the work, and that they would come and speak to me, and that they would help me with my path. I believe I knew at the age of 7 years old that I needed to come to the United States to do my work, because them, along with my guide, Joshua, were preparing me for a bigger purpose in life. So out of all the 12 that all hung out together, 9 of them died before the age of 36. And when my cousin Sharon fell asleep in the chair, went to sleep, never woke up. My cousin Thomas died from a drug overdose. A lot of them all were very gifted, but no one liked to talk about it. They thought they were crazy. They thought that nobody would believe them if they talked about the stuff they saw. This is just hard for me to even talk about this, so I'm sorry if I well up and I cry. Ralph's brother David passed away, 36. His older brother John passed away, 36. Out of Ralph's immediate family alone, he lost 3 brothers. And then himself, he went at 51. And then Thomas is on the other side, my dad's side of the family. And then Thomas, like I say, died at 36. Sharon died at 36. Then the other cousin that lived across the street, Stephen, died at 36. And it was just all of this happening kind of put Ralph over the edge. He ended up, like I say, he just was doing drugs and everything, and he just couldn't handle it. Me, I get on the plane and came to the States. And for me, I knew there was a bigger purpose, that everything that was happening around me, I really needed to embrace what was going on with me. And I was an only child of 13. My mother had 12 miscarriages before she had me. I was the 13th child, and I was the only one that survived. Ralph came from a family of 13, and which I thought the number 13 kept coming up all the time with us. But 3 of them died, you know, very, very young, and then there was like 10 of them left, and then the other 3 died. So he came, so there was 6 in total was already gone from that family. There's only 6 left now. And I remember Ralph going to, I think it was Norway, and he had these predictions about the King of Norway at the time, and he went to tell someone there because he was worried. He thought the King of Norway was going to be assassinated, and they literally locked him up and put him in jail, and then they put him, you know, on a plane and sent him back to Scotland. And after that's when he went off the deep end. He was trying to save the man's life. Well, at that time, I guess, there was an attempt made on his life, and the person got caught doing it, all thanks to Ralph. But no one ever wanted to admit to it, you know? So when I wrote my first book, Miracles from the Light, I put some of our stories out there, things that we did as kids and everything. And when he got his first copy of the book, he called me on the phone. He was crying like a baby. He goes, I can't believe you're out there talking about this. I can't even discuss this back home. He says, and here you are in the States and you're talking about these things that happened to us as kids. I says, well, how does it make you feel? He goes, makes me feel pure dead brilliant. It does. I'm like, great. I'm glad to hear it. He goes, Rosemary, you're the only one that ever believed me. I says, Ralph, I think we all believed each other, but none of us wanted to talk about it. We all knew it was going on, but none of us could discuss it. You know, we didn't know what to do. You know, we were kids that were in families in a poor neighborhoods. You talk about that stuff, they'll lock you up and throw away the key. You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, these kids are all drinking the same water, put them all in the same place over here, you know? There must be something in the water because there's 12 of them and they're all seeing the same thing. No one ever wanted to believe it. So when this guy came in on May the 19th, all of a sudden he's bringing back all these memories for me of all the connections that I've had with him over the years. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. He's like, a lot of the stuff that you've been learning through Joshua, he says, is coming from us also. We're working hand in hand with your guy Joshua because you were more comfortable dealing with a man or a human than dealing with us. So we would send the messages through him. And I was like, awesome, now I know where all that information is coming from. And my guy Joshua has taught me many things over the years, and I've been teaching workshops and classes for God knows how long now. And I've traveled all over the world, and I've done a lot of things. In fact, some people probably say, God, your life's a fantasy. Nobody could do what you've done, you know? But fortunately for me, I've done a lot of stuff, and I've done a lot of great things that I think that I've enjoyed, and some things I've not really enjoyed. There's been some situations in my life I'm thinking, well, why the hell would you put me in this situation? Why would you put me here? And they're like, because every lesson that you learn is making you grow stronger and making you become a stronger woman. And it's going to make you all the more capable of stepping out there and talking about everything that's happened to you as a child growing up. I mean, well, that's going to take about 3 books. So now I'm into book 3. So I'm working on book 3 right now. And this guy here says, okay, now I want more details about you. So you're an Arcturian? He goes, yes. I says, and what are you to me? He says, we're part of the same DNA. And he says, your son is an Arcturian. And he says, well, he referred to my son as they, you know, as well. And they are an Arcturian. And the thing is, when my kid was, to be honest, I knew nothing about transgender teens. I just found this all out a year and a half ago. I knew nothing about, I have a lot of gay friends, but I didn't understand what LGBTQ meant and all this other stuff, you know, and I'm trying to learn. I'm like, okay, fill me in, honey, tell me what I need to know, you know, because I'm kind of oblivious to some of this stuff and I want to be there to support you and everything. But they were like, your son has always had all these beings within him, the female and the male energies, and he knows who he is. He knows where he came from. He probably won't tell you, he probably won't talk to you about it, but he also knows where he's going, and he has a path, and that path is already lined out for him. And they said, and you've been preparing your son for this ever since he was a baby. He says, and then they said, and he's also been preparing you. So, because my kid told me at 3 years old, hey, Mom, by the way, I'm not from here, you know? So, and I always kind of had a feeling that, you know, I came from beyond the stars, somewhere else. And I have done some past life regression stuff, and I've come up with some really amazing things. Could be my imagination, might not be, I don't know. But this one here, and I said to him, so what's your name? He says, well, where I come from, we don't have a name. It's a vibration. Well, that didn't surprise me, because when my kid was in the back of the car, and I said, so what's the name of these beings that you communicate with? He goes, they don't have a name. My 3-year-old said, they have a vibration. And then he goes, and I went, what? And he made this noise like a dolphin coming out of him. And I was like, what does that mean? He says, that's what we call planet Earth. Now we're talking a 2.5-year-old, not even 3 years old yet, is saying this to me. And then he's saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, we're a vibration, and we have different, we come in different vibrations. And I went, okay, so where are you? Where are you from? He says, well, we're not within your solar system. We're way beyond your solar system. In fact, we don't like coming to your planet. I says, why not? He says, because it's so toxic. Everything on the planet is so toxic right now. And part of your job, and the reason you're there, and the reason you're pulling together these light workers and everything, and we're working with you, is because we're asking you to help clean up the planet. Yeah. And this is what they're, so there's nothing to be afraid of. They're here to help us clean up our planet. And we know what to do. We already have it within ourselves, our cellular memory, and our DNA. We all know what to do. It's just that we forgot. You know, you come in another body, you've already had 20 or 30 lifetimes, and we're repeating our cycles over and over and over again. And sometimes we just forget where we really started off in the very beginning. And he said, so the reason we've been working with you for the last 10, 15 years, primarily with these workshops and classes that you're teaching, is teaching people how to shift the vibration of the earth, how to clear their water by giving light to the water, and how to clear the vibration of food before you eat it, or before you consume it. And I've been teaching this in my workshops all of the time. I mean, most of you probably know Master Emoto, who had the book Messages from Water. That all made sense to me all of a sudden. It's like, oh, holy crap, now this all makes sense. So I said, well, I really would like to refer to you as something. I don't want to just call you the guy with the blue thing on his head, you know? And he says, why? He says, why don't you call me? And he goes, Aragos. And I was like, do I have to say Aragos, or can I just say Aragos? He goes, it's Aragos. And I says, can I say Aragos? He goes, okay. So I got the permission to call him Aragos. So that's, their name is Aragos. And when you look at this picture, I have this on my cell phone. Come by the booth, I'll show it to you. It's unbelievable. When you blow it up on the cell phone, you can see other souls within this translucent body. You can see a little face and a head here. You see one here. He's got a triangle on his breast. And I know a lot of people connect to the triangles. Does anybody know what the triangles are for? Anybody want to put your hand up and say what you think? Okay. So when I teach my workshops and my classes, I put people through activations. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing it. And the spirits were saying, okay, you come in and do this. This was when I first started out. I went, what am I doing? They're like, you're activating people. You're helping them remember the things they've forgotten. And we're going to bring these memories forth from their body. So what I would do is, when I have everybody in a group in class, I go around and activate them. And all these triangles started popping up on people's legs, their backs, their belly buttons. And I had one guy in my class in Singapore, had a huge big one right between his breastbone. I had another lady I was working on, had 7 of them in her head. And I was at the International UFO Conference in Laughlin, Nevada. That was years ago, when this woman sat down in front of me and she goes, what are these? I went, they're not caribuncles, that's for sure. And I worked on her and did some healing on her. And when I was done, I says, they're information. You're carrying information within your cells, your cellular memory, your DNA. And when you remember, you start to remember things, you go through an activation. So when you call on your guides, your angels, your ETs, you can either ask them to activate you, and if you're not comfortable doing it, come and see me and I'll activate you. And I did it with her, and she had cancer in her body. And the the lumps went back in, they disappeared completely, and the cancer left her body. Now, I have moved cancer out of my body twice now without chemo radiation, and I don't say that lightly, because anybody that's had cancer, you know, you worry, you think, oh my God, am I going to live long enough to see my kid grow up, you know? And the first time I had it, I was 24 years old, and it was in the womb. And these guys came in and showed me how to get rid of it out of my body. Once again, I need some water, sorry. I drink a lot of water. I run to the bathroom a lot as well. So here I am, teaching these workshops and these classes, and these people come to my classes, and after the classes going all of a sudden, what are these lumps in my body that are popping up all of a sudden? And I'm like, it's information. These are like little devices that are being implanted in your body, but they never are implanted unless you give permission to do so. And I remember when I went to the International UFO conference, there was a lot of people freaking out about the ETs and freaking about, oh yeah, I've got implants in me and I want to get them out and everything. I'm like, why are you so worried about it? When you go into fear, you draw more negative stuff to you. Look at it as a positive here and look at what is it that's been given to you, because there's a gift here. And when you start tapping on these triangles, so anybody that has any little lumps on their body, and all of a sudden it appears like a spider bite, and it's all red on the outside, and you press on it and you really press hard, you will actually feel the triangle underneath. And it's like a circle, and there's a little triangle. You just tap it and you go release, release, release. If there's any information there for me that needs to be shared with me now, I'm open to receiving it. And there you go, you've activated your triangle. So, my mother died in 2005, and Spirit said, okay, go back to Scotland, do your mum's service, get on the plane and go to Cairo, Egypt. I'm like, Cairo, Egypt? What in the hell would I want to go to Cairo, Egypt for? And they're like, because you got to go to Cairo. And I says, okay. So I get on the plane. And my ex-husband's freaking out at this time because he's like, I'm the breadwinner, you know, he's a business manager and I'm the one that does all the work. I'm out there doing my things. He's like, if you go to Cairo for a week, he says, how are we going to pay the bills? I went, it's okay. My mum had been poor all of her life, left me £8,000. And he goes, oh, really? Cool. I says, I'll send you 4,000, take care of the bills. I'm taking the other 4,000 and going to Cairo. He's like, what for? I went, I have absolutely no clue why I'm going to Cairo. I'm going because they're telling me, Joshua's telling me, I need to go. And so I get on the plane. Before I get on the plane, I have to make a call. So I called a client of mine, and her husband lived in Cairo. And she's like, she always said, if you ever want to go to Cairo, Rosemary, just call me. I'll set it up. You can go anytime you want. So I called her. I says, hey, do you mind if I go to Cairo? When do you want to go? Tomorrow? She goes, tomorrow? I went, yeah. Let me call my husband, Mohammed, and we'll, you know, get it set up for you. So I get on the plane the next day, and I go to Cairo, and I get off the plane, and this young man comes up to me and goes, Miss Rosemary, so yeah, pulls me out of the line, and everybody's lining up, you know, to get the visa stamps, and I hate immigration. I hate having to deal with them, okay? Because they can make you wait forever, you know? So here I am. I'm in the line, pulls me out, takes me in the back off, stamp out the door. I go, oh, that was quick, that's great. I go around the corner, there's this little guy, happy guy, waving at me. He's going, hi, Rosemary. He's all happy to see me. And I go around the corner, there's this big limousine parked with flags on the end of it. And I went, So I get in the limousine with Mohammed. I says, so Mohammed, I says, what is it you do anyway? He goes, well, I'm an ambassador for United Nations for Cairo, Egypt. And I'm like, oh, really? He said, tomorrow I've got to go to a conference. And tomorrow, you're probably going to have to come with me unless you want to stay in the apartment alone. I went, oh, no, I'd be happy to go. I ended up going with him to Cairo, and I had no clue what the heck I was walking into. I get there, and I'm getting all this interaction with these beings while I'm there as well. And they're telling me you're here for a specific reason. I'm like, okay, well, this is just kind of freaking me out a little bit. So can you guys just kind of lay it out simply for me instead of freaking me out? And so anyway, Mohammed goes off to his meetings. I'm laying on the beach, this beautiful 5-star hotel. Looking great, I'm looking out at the ocean, it's beautiful. And then all of a sudden, Mohammed's done, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go get changed. And he says, do you have anything for a black tie event? And I says, yeah. He goes, okay, so you're my guest of honor for dinner tonight. Well, okay, great, thanks. So the next thing I know, I'm coming down the stairs with Mohammed. But before that, I saw a whole setup going on over here on the grass verge outside the hotel. I thought, oh, there's a big event going on here tonight. Somebody important's going to be here tonight. I'm thinking, you know, because to see they're just silver, everything coming out, the white tablecloths. And I worked in 4-star, 5-star hotels. That's what I trained in. That was my training, my background, prepare me for all of this that I'm doing now. So here I am, I'm watching this going on, and then I come down the stairs and I'm walking with Mohammed, and I says, by the way, what's going on this evening? Where are we going? He goes, it's a dinner for United Nations. 60 diplomats from all over the world are here tonight. And I was like, what? You got to be frigging kidding me. And he's like, yeah, and you're my guest of honor. And I was like, what? So I'm like, my guide Joshua, like, okay, what the heck is going on? And he says, look, you have these triangles in your body that have been activated. You're a light worker. You're a light being. Everybody that you come into contact, so everyone in this room, if you have any doubt about being a light worker, being a light being, it's time to let go of that, because you can all do what I do. Every single one of us can do this. We just need to let it flow through us and just trust in spirit and trust that we're being guided by these beautiful beings, whether it be angels or ETs or whatever you want to call them. They're here to assist us. So I get told by Mohammed that I needed to, not Mohammed, sorry, Joshua, my guide. He says, when you go downstairs and go to dinner, shake hands with every single person in the room. He says, the light that is within you then will trigger and activate the light within them, and so on and so on and so on. So when each person goes back to their country, they're going to take that light, and every other person who shakes hands, domino effect, it's going to spread out worldwide. And I was like, this is a really big thing you're putting on me here. I don't know if I want to do this. They said, put it this way, you have no choice. That's why you're here. Do it. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't know if I can do this. I don't even know these people. But here's the thing. I walk into this environment. I have no clue what the hell I'm walking into. I'm trusting my guide that he's taking me in the right path. And next thing I know, every single person's come up hugging me, shaking hands with me. We're so happy you're here. Have a seat. I sat down next to the ambassador from Palestine and Portugal. And it was an amazing, amazing experience for me. And they invited me to lunch on the Monday. So I went for lunch with them on the Monday, a few days later. But the next day, we were driving back, and Mohammed goes, okay, I think we should maybe have some dinner tonight, have some friends come with us tonight for dinner. Now, all these people are all flying home the next day. They're all going back to their various different countries. And I said, that sounds like a good idea. I'm thinking a table of 10, or 8 people. So he's on the phone with the secretary, setting everything up. And we get down to the Nile. There's this beautiful big restaurant on the Nile. It's on a boat. And we're walking up the gangplank, and his secretary is standing at the top of the gangplank. And she goes, everything's in order, Miss Mohammed. And he goes, okay. And she said, everybody's waiting. And I walk in, and all 60 people that were at the dinner the night before that were supposed to be leaving that day were all at the dinner. And I went, oh my God. I says, who's getting the bill? And he goes, don't worry, United Nations is getting the bill. And I was like, I freaked out, completely freaked out. Everyone's come up, they were hugging me. Hi, Rosemary, we're so happy you came for dinner tonight. Come on, you get the seat of honor. They sat me down, took really good care of me. I had great conversations with people. And the one thing that I noticed is I don't speak a lot of languages, but all of a sudden, I'm understanding absolutely everything everybody's saying to me. And I'm like, all right, what's going on here? I understand a little bit of French, kitchen French, okay? I worked in the hotel and restaurant industry. I had to read French menus, German menus, Spanish, and Italian, okay? That's all I knew. They're all new kitchen or pigeon French and Italian and everything. So I was like, okay, so these people are talking in their own language back and forth with each other. And I'm right on it with the conversation. I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm answering questions. And they're like, so you speak Polish? No. So you speak Spanish? No. I says, but I understand what you're saying. And they said, you do? And I was, how is that? And I says, I have no clue. I have no clue. But I guess I'm here for a reason. And we had great conversations and everything. Nobody wanted to leave. We were there till like 2 or 3 in the morning. They literally had to throw us all out. We sat up. And the next day, I woke up and I had 60 triangles on my legs. I counted them. I put a circle around every one and I numbered them on my legs. So like my ex-husband's like, I came home with them all written on my legs, all written on. Like 5 days later, I didn't want to wash it off because I wanted to prove it to my ex-husband. Look at these lumps on my legs, and they're all numbered. There's 60 of them. And he's like, this is unbelievable. He says, you just seem to fall like these places and go places where probably most people would never even venture into. He says, and here you are, all this is happening. He says, I don't know why it happened. I really don't understand why it happened. I says, but I do know that in some way or another, Spirit moved me, and Spirit asked me to do something, and I did it. And here's the thing that I've learned. If you keep bucking Spirit all the time and disagreeing with them all the time, you never really get anywhere. You know, if you don't listen when they try to talk to you, then what happens is you don't get the things that you want to draw to you in your life. And I've really learned to work with Spirit over the years and really listen. And a lot of this stuff I teach, and I teach ongoing on a daily basis. I have students that I mentor all over the world right now. And they all are learning from me also that when you just go with the flow and you're in the moment and you're in that space, like what I said the first day when we set up and we were doing the circle, and I was saying to everybody, you know, just be, it's because all this time is speeding up around us, and that big magnetic belt around the earth right now is spinning so fast that it's affecting us all. And we're like this, we're trying to run to keep up with it. I mean, we can't. It's going way too fast for us to keep up with. You have to just stop and let that move around you and stand in the middle of the tornado or the hailstorm or whatever you want to call it, and just be at one with yourself and be connected to your guides and your angels and listen to them. And most of the time we just don't listen. So because I did that, my guides and my angels have taken care of me. They really have taken very good care of me. I'm very blessed and very fortunate. I had my kids. The doctors told me when I was 24 I'd never have kids. They said, you'll never have children. So for 12 years, I tried to have kids. Never took the pill or anything like that. I tried everything that I could to try and have a kid. And all of a sudden, when I least expected it, the doctor tells me I'm pregnant. And I'm like, I can't be, because I can't have kids. He went, you had sex, didn't you? And I said, yeah. He says, well, you're pregnant. And I was just kind of laugh about it now. Okay, so we'll be finishing up soon here, in a few minutes. So anyway, I can talk a little bit more about this in my workshop later. I'm doing an hour at 5 o'clock if you guys want to come and hang for a while and just enjoy some of the stuff. And I can teach you some techniques that will give you some things to go home with today to help you set your sacred space, to clear your space, and to just help clear yourself so that you can really communicate and connect with your angels and your guides yourself. Because if I can fix my womb and have a baby at 36 years old and get cancer out of my body, then every single one of you can do whatever you want to do with yourselves and with your own lives. And it's not about going another healer to heal you. It's about healing yourself. Healer, heal thyself first. Thank you.
Did everybody enjoy that? Give her another round of applause, please. The workshop is at 5. Yes, it's at 5 o'clock in the meeker room, the room that's right next door. So if you haven't purchased tickets for that, please go up front to do so. This time, next up, we have Anouk Whitebear and Chris Casseropoulos. Thank you. Every time I look at it, it's like, I'm gonna mess it up. So we are going to be coming up. So everybody can just kind of hang out here so we can keep things on schedule, unless you have a workshop to go to or need to use the restroom or anything like that. I'm gonna keep talking and kind of keep the energy going. I believe you guys are playing some bowls, right? Oh, you will be singing. Oh, do we have a second mic for them?
They might just have to use standard.
Okay, yeah, I think this is the only one we've had.
Okay.
So while everybody's in here, what I'm gonna do while we're kind of hanging out, I'm gonna play some crystal healing bowls just to raise the energy in the room. Everybody cool with that? Awesome.
So you'll be sitting. Okay, do you have a card or anything that has your website
There's a video
Okay, like L-I-T-E.
Right.
L-I-T-H.
Okay. Light truck.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just put that up.
Okay, perfect. I am helping everyone to turn out their hours.
That's fine.
All day, every day.
That's
So
fine.
if you're interested at all, that will be awesome. Good.
Yeah,
And do you think you'll be on the floor, squatting, sitting, standing?
we'll be standing. We just need a mic.
Well, we're only gonna have one.
Put it between us.
Do you want to put it back up, or you just want to do it like that?
No, this is fine. Just the mic.
Do you think you'll stand right? She just did it.
The vibration is. Oh, here's another.
I know, I was forgetting to grab it. Thank you so very
Can
much.
we use that one?
I just want to make sure I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Before I go.
Yeah,
Go blab and
yeah,
I'm way off here and you're way up here and
Yeah,
she's just
exactly.
going, okay.
yeah, because some people want to use the website or whatever, so, yeah.
I retrieved the shoes and then I saw that and I figured you might want to go.
I know, and it took a while to get it in that nice little costume.
So we can't use that one?
This does not go
Doesn't
to
go in there.
the, no, this is only for the, and you know what, I almost wonder if I should just wrap it and put it on there. Because the live stream okay, well then I'll change it when you're not talking, because that picks up all of the. This one.
Yeah.
But it's mostly for Mari. You know what, it might pick it up fine then. You know what I might do instead is. So then what I might do is I'll just scoot this over and send
Bring it
it so
closer.
it picks you up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Time is.
Yeah.
No, it was not. Okay, she said yes. Will you have it done?
We kind of, but that's why I just thought,
I will.
yeah, it feels like.
Okay, I have all of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find people.
Any other
It could be great for everybody. We can
No,
do that.
I think it's not like, because I see the, in some, like,
Are you listening to radio?
Tomorrow, tonight, 7:00.
Yeah, that's fine. I like that one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, hopefully not. In this moment, you better run.
I am.
Something will pop up as soon as you leave, I'm sure.
I was thinking also, I think probably, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's like. Do it, yes. There you go. You know what that's. So we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
You want to lower? That's gonna be hard because he's high and narrow.
I can put on my boots.
No.
If I put on my boots, I'll be tall.
So I got. Which one's this one?
I would totally start checking those.
This one's a little dark. You know,
Oh,
yeah. China? Do you want to China?
Forward.
China the bowlers. There's some bowlers here.
Oh,
It's China the bowlers.
China the bowler. I'm very technical.
Center ladder. Yeah, okay, that's good.
See, doesn't that even feel better?
So, we did. You turn it down. So,
Bring him in, bring him in.
It's time for everybody to come into the main hallway. A fantastic portal.
Woo!
Lovely, wonderful, multidimensional, supported, beautiful living spirit portal. Delightful entry for our spirit being. Everyone in the whole place be heard. The time is at hand.
Yes.
Glad to greet on the wonderful table for our guests today, Anara and Chris. I've had the pleasure to visit with these ones on several occasions. So beautiful, bringing such lovely light. I've been able to participate with them and bringing forward these magical star energies, very strong and lovely. We've been able to know in our many connections with nature, with the insects, with the raccoons, share many of the same wonderful star pictures, and they are so delightful, so tender, all beings. Love them so much. Please welcome Anouk and Chris.
Center in your heart and be open to receive.
So I'm Chris, and this is Anouk. Introduce ourselves here and tell a little bit about what we do and how we got to this place where we bring the sound and open the portals. I've been doing sound, such as you just heard, for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. Had experiences since I was a child with out-of-body, other dimensional beings, and always did these things on my own. And then a couple of years ago, met Anouk at one of her classes and realized, oh, there's someone else who does this. And we started doing sound together, and it started sounding like what you just heard. And we started realizing that when we do these things together, we open portals to other dimensions and other beings. And we both separately have had experiences with star beings, other dimensions, all sorts of expanded consciousness experience. I've written several books about it, but what we found is when we do this together, we open a portal and all sorts of experiences, beings, and consciousness expansion can happen.
So I started teaching classes probably 16, 17 years ago, and right away the Palladians came through, and they were teaching the classes. And I thought that was this is it, this is what I do, I bring the Palladians through. It's that thing where you think you know what you do, and then it evolves into, no, I guess this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, and it kept getting more expanded. And that was because I was expanding. The more your consciousness expands, the more what you thought you came here to do changes. And that's important to allow that. So sound for me, I have been clearing energies with sound my whole life, but not knowing that that's what I was doing until the past 16 years. And when I started to allow the beings to sing through me, I realized that something big is happening. And I didn't know, like he was saying, I didn't know other people did it. I just knew that there was something very important about allowing it to happen. And the more I allowed it to happen, the more people came into my life that do it too. It's not, there's not just one of us, there's lots of us, and we're supposed to be bringing these energies through with the language of light. You'll notice that it comes through each one of us differently, and that's important too. These are frequencies, and we're supposed to have different frequencies. We're all made differently, and we all have gifts to bring. Chris and I together, because we've done our work alone, we were able to come together without the need for another. It happened very organically when it happened. I wasn't looking for a partner in life or to sing with, and he was neither. And when it happened, it was magic from the beginning. It was magic from the start. So the classes have continued and are continuing. Where it started out with the Palladians is now all interdimensional beings that have wisdom and information to bring through. We allow to bring that information through. So we've been working closely with the Andromedan energies, but it changes week to week if you'll allow it. If you'll allow the beings to come through and speak through you, sing through you, bring their energy through without deciding the way it's supposed to be. Don't decide that you think you know how it's supposed to be. Allow it to continue to expand, and Chris is going to talk a little bit about why.
So when we do sound, I never thought I was a singer or I've been a musician all my life. I played the piano and other instruments, but I never thought I would sing until I was researching a book about 10, 15 years ago. Again, dates are blurry, but I was in England and I went to Glastonbury tour as part of the research for the book. And when I was on the tour, it was a winter day, mid-February. No one else was on the tour. I don't know if anyone's ever been there before, but it's a very big portal opening. And I was sitting at the top by myself, and a huge gust of wind. There's the remnants of a tower from the monastery that was on the top, and you're sitting there alone, and a big, huge gust of wind came through, and I got this mantra that came through that I started chanting. And I was like, okay, I've been given this mantra. I never knew about chanting. I didn't understand what it was supposed to do. But as I did more of this chanting work,
And after that time on the tour, I started traveling. I'd done some astral travel out of the body before, as I said, even when I was a child. The reason the sound opens you up to doing those kinds of things is because everything is sound. Everything is sound. This microphone stand is sound because everything is energy. Everything is vibrating. Everything has its frequency, as you were saying. And when you use sound with intent, and you apply it, and you bring it through your heart, you move energy. And when you move energy with that kind of spirit, you open portals to other aspects of yourself, other aspects of the universe, and other beings that you can connect with. And when you open the portal, you're opening, really what you're doing is expanding your conscious awareness. You're expanding your consciousness to allow new things to come through. And we talk about this a lot. What we're doing is expanding our conscious awareness when we come to an event like this, when we connect with other people who are here, who are thinking the same ways and understanding things and experiencing things. We're expanding our consciousness. When we do sound and we open ourselves up, and we allow without fear, and we're in love and heart space, and we do all of these things, we're expanding our consciousness. We expand consciousness, we expand awareness, and then we expand experience. And that's what we do with sound. And that's what we do when we open a portal. And when we connect with beings such as Grant was mentioning, the insects and the raccoons, and we both found that we interact with all kinds of beings the same way. We interact with all kinds of objects the same way. This little stand has consciousness. It's a being too. It's a nice stand, it's doing a good job. We talk to things like that all the time. You're a nice stand, thank you, we love you. And when you interact with things like that, in what people call inanimate objects, everything is imbued with the consciousness of spirit. Everything. Every being, every object, because ultimately that's all this is pure consciousness expressed into a material form. And that's why sound is important as a way of opening up and connecting. And that's what we do.
What this time is now, especially in 2016, is the time of letting go. It's so big. It's so big it makes me breathe a little funny. Because you think I'm letting go, and I'm letting go, and I'm letting go, and I just keep letting go. So we are letting go to the point of our deepest beliefs. So as we let go of these deepest beliefs, it gets simpler, it gets easier. It's the old beliefs that have caused us to react in old ways, do things, even in our highest, because I know that there's a lot of you here that have experienced amazing spiritual enlightenment, growth, all of that, and then like 2 weeks later, you're like, what happened? What happened? Because there was still ingrained beliefs. Those beliefs are what are leaving now. And so part of that is you're letting go in ways you didn't know you were going to let go. It's huge. Because what you're doing is you're becoming as pure as you can possibly be in this moment, at this time. And each time you realize that you've let go a little more, you are giving openings to new beliefs. These beliefs are coming to you through your higher being, through other interdimensional beings as an offering. But if you still have the old beliefs, you're going to hold some of those back. Some of them are things like, could it be that simple to just use sound? Could it be that simple to just sing it away? Could it be that simple to speak to this stand and relate with this stand? Could it be this simple when there's a giant spider behind the toilet and you go to this, I mean, it's huge. You go with a cup and you say, spider, would you please climb into the cup? And the spider climbs into the cup. Could it be that simple? Could it all really be that simple? Yes, and that's what's happening. It's getting simpler, not more complicated. So even, I love fringe physics. Love it. Like it's like eating chocolate to me. And yet, as I'm reading it, experiencing it, understanding it, I'm like, it's really simple. It's really simple. It truly is about energy and your thoughts and creating reality. So you have to know what you believe to be able to create the new reality. And that's what's been happening this year. You're getting down to core beliefs.
So when we talk about the physics, because we do talk about it a lot when we teach and we have workshops and that sort of thing. One of my books is about a string theory physicist. I write novels, actually. I don't write spiritual books per se, but they all have this stuff in them. But the physics, the more advanced it gets, the simpler it gets. Same with the spirituality, because the understandings become, when you get down to the core level in the physical, it's all just energy, which is our spiritual understanding as well. And when that's where the quantum physics comes in, that's where the understandings that it's all interrelated. Physicists, scientists are catching up to the spiritual wisdom that the elders, the people who are the masters have always known. It's been expressed in a different way, and physicists like to use math to express things and tie things together so we can understand it. One of the equations, the core equation of the book, Epiphany, about the physicist is 0 times infinity equals 1. It doesn't make sense from a mathematical standpoint, but it does as a way of describing the universe. 0 is the center point, the null point, the center of the universe, where we all are in our own universe. Times infinity is the size of the universe. It's infinite, never ends, goes on forever. Equals 1 means those two things are together. The center point, the null point, the 0 point where we all exist, and infinity all together is 1. Physicists are starting to come up with equations like that that don't make sense, but they do, because it's not just our physical reality. It goes beyond that. So when you open up to those understandings, and we expand our consciousness to those levels, and when we interact with beings like this, always, no matter who the being is, where they are, what they are, then you open up to connecting with all different kinds of star beings, which we experience all the time. What came in the channeling on Thursday night was Sirius. I think it was, yeah, you were here. She was out. What usually happens is we open the portal and she goes out and channels and the beings speak through her, but we both connect with them all the time in different ways, including merging, which we're going to talk about in one of our workshops. I think the workshop this evening is opening the portal to the Brahmanans. The other workshop tomorrow is merging with starting. So we're going to talk about that. Because there are ships, we see the ships all the time. it was earlier last week, our house in Indianapolis, where we currently live, looks out onto the river there. And it's got a big, wide window. Along the wall of the house just faces the river. So 3, 4 a.m., we wake up and there's a huge light shining in through this wall of glass into the bedroom, which is at the other end of the house. Sit up, and there's a bank of lights, like 2 rows of 6 or 8 lights, just shining energy into our house. We didn't know what it was. It's normal. It happens. It happens at our place. We just sit there like, okay, we're getting something. And that's the other key that we talk about all the time is not trying to pin it down, not trying to define it, not trying to label everything, not trying to understand. We didn't say, well, that's that kind of a shift. It must be the series. It must be the grays. It must be. Just allow it, be open to it, no fear, let it in, experience it. When you open your consciousness to the biggest and the highest, you can experience the biggest and the highest in a loving, unfearful way, and you will experience more and more. So that's what we talk about and work on all the time. And that's what the sound helps us do. We walked out the door after class Thursday night, and we see a lot of these kinds of ships. And we see this bright light, kind of just above the horizon, twinkling, flashing red, green, blue, red, green, white, blue, all really vivid, really changing colors all the time, just sitting there hovering. And then sometimes moving a little bit like this and dancing around, like, okay, hello, hi, we know you're up there, thank you for being there right when you walk up the door. But it's like, it's like saying hello to this. Hi, how are you? We love you. That's usually how we're relating with these beings. A lot of the times we're getting downloads too. We don't know what they are. We may not know until later what this is all about. But we're experiencing it, we're open to it, and we're unafraid of anything. We've had merge experiences with cat beings, dog beings, beings that look like, some people would say they look like demons, but they're just different beings. They're just different kinds of beings. And when you go to it unafraid, there's no fear. You merge, you come back out again, and you've expanded because you merge. And what I was going to say about the ships, yes, there are ships. Yes, there are 3D, 4D types of beings. They're here. They're all over. There's lots of different kinds. You don't have to pin it down and say, well, it's this way, and these beings are trying to control the earth, and these beings are trying to do something. There's all sorts of other kinds of beings as well that are higher dimensional consciousness traveling beings. They're more advanced. They don't have to use a ship. They travel with their consciousness, and that's what we do when we expand our consciousness. We can direct our conscious awareness to wherever we want to go. It's just as easy to get with consciousness from here to the grocery store down in the town as it is to get from here to the Pleiades or Andromeda. And that's how we travel. And tell them about driving the mind.
So my experience before Chris was all these beings coming to me through energy and consciousness. I never really had, the experience of ships showing up until Chris showed up. What I experienced was beings showing up in my room as a child, standing beside my bed, talking to me, having conversations, but I never even thought about them having a ship. They were just shining, beautiful beings standing there. I continue to have that experience. So when I've done so many things in my life. I used to go to the UFO conferences, and I would sit there. There's one in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and I would sit there and I would think, yeah, but there's more. There's more. Like, you're not getting it. Like, yes, there's ships, but there's more. There's so much more. These beings, yeah, both hands. So these beings, the more expanded your consciousness is, the more you can travel anywhere, anywhere. We can do anything. So what we're being taught, this is all part of what's happening right now. We are being taught to drive our minds. Our minds are the ship. We already have a ship. So we can talk about Merkaba and all that kind of stuff, but remember, we're going down to simple. We're going down to simple. Learn how to control your thoughts. Direct your thoughts, control your thoughts. So when I say control your thoughts, I mean, if you want to go into fear, you're going to experience fear, right? If you want to experience love, and that's why I will sign everything and I'll just say there is only love and I'm right there. It's because in my reality, there is only love. I never have scary experiences, and I have a hell of a lot of them. I mean, it's every night. It's not like I have, it's not like, once a year, or once every 6 months, something big happens. It happens every night. I sleep with the sleeping prophet. This man, I may channel during the daylight, but this man channels at night, and it goes on for hours. Just information just coming through, and he's sound asleep. He's sound asleep. And while that's happening, there are beings in the room with us. These things would not happen to us if we had fear. I mean, the stuff that goes on it's so beautiful because our hearts are beautiful, because we stay in beauty. It's like the spider, right? So some people would be like, come in here, kill the spider. I can barely say those words, honestly. For us, it's, oh, the spider. Hi, spider. Just like he was doing. We talk to the spider. We talk to the star beings. We talk to everything. We talk to the car. The raccoon showed up at our dinner last night. We went and had dinner, and we were driving around going, where are we going to go? I don't know. Here's a parking space. I guess we'll go here. We ended up in this Mexican restaurant in Estes Park, and we turned, and there's a raccoon sitting on the wall next to us. One was blonde and red, because it's basically dried up. The other one's blue. And he sits there with us through our whole dinner. And we talked to him, loved him, and merged with him. And you just, it's your heart, right? You open your heart. You can communicate with anything. And that means anything. That means a raccoon, the stand, star beams, each other. Your heart is open, and there is no fear. And I'm not saying, this year has been brutal. This year has been brutal for a lot of people. But what you'll notice is that the love is coming through more too. We're actually opening our hearts more, even as we're on the floor crying. We're opening more.
One thing that's happening with all of them, we're aware, and this is something that we talk about with each other a lot, and we talk about in our classes a lot. There is a lot of extreme stuff going on, and part of it is because the energies are getting much more intense. Things are quickening. The pace of everything is going much faster. Time seems to be flying, but when we notice time flying very fast, there is no time. It's just our perception of the energies going faster. And it's almost like a pendulum. Pendulum has less energy, it's going like this. Pendulum it's an energetic system. When it gets more energy put into it, it starts swinging faster and faster and faster. That's what we're experiencing. And we're experiencing the extremes of on one side over here, there's a lot of fear and ugliness and people trying to drag people down. There's a lot of big good stuff over on this side too. And as it keeps going more and more like this, the old stuff is trying to hold on, but the new stuff is coming in no matter what. It exists, it's already here. So the key with driving your mind, and this came to an hour during, this was in the middle of the night for you too, you know, visions and experiences that we had that you went through a portal yourself on your own. It was Andromeda, and the being that you often connect with, her name is Oise, from Andromeda. Little blue being, I've seen her, said, you have to, your mind is the ship. You have to learn to drive your mind. Told that to her. And that's the teaching, that's the understanding. The higher consciousness beings, they come in the blink of an eye from Andromeda to here. They're with us, they merge with us, they speak with us. And it can happen to anybody, as long as we're open, and that's what we work on with expanding consciousness. But the understanding is, focus your awareness. Even if you have awareness of, you know, a news report about a disaster or catastrophe, all these things that we all see and hear about, shift away, because otherwise you're putting energy into that fear-based experience. Focus the experience on the beauty. Look outside and see that. Focus your awareness on that beauty that's outside and all around us every day. That's how we keep the vibration as high as possible. That's how we help bring things up, keep things up, bring others up by focusing on the highest, the best, the beauty, the love that's all around.
So the Andromeda experience, this is important in life because these things happen, like I said, every night, and half of them I don't remember, and I don't journal. I just live. I just have these experiences. Chris just happens to have a really good memory. So what was happening is she was saying to me, Isaiah was saying to me, you know, you come here and I'll go there. And I had fear. I was like, well, am I coming back? I'm kind of having fun right now. Like, if you caught me maybe 2 years ago, I would have been fine. Like, yeah, I'll go with girl. But am I coming back? And so the teaching to me was about learn how to drive your mind. Yes, you can come back. Yes, you can come back. You go there, I'll come here, we'll change places, we'll be good, and then we'll come right back. Like, I don't know. And so there was a time period where, like, I would go almost into, like, when she would come through, there were times when I would completely leave. I don't do it all the time, but sometimes I'm in trance, but I don't go completely out. Sometimes I go completely out. And it's with her that I do. And so it'd be kind of like a holding place. And it was with the Syrians. It was a beautiful gold room, and they were just like, you're good. Like, and that was about me learning, like, continuing to let go of the fear, right? Because the fear is the part that holds you back from being able to go and do these really cool things. I'm still in that place of like, I'm good just sitting in this gold room. But I'm also with the understanding that I'm willing to learn how to totally let go and go back and forth. I'm learning, and it's through releasing the fear. So we are multidimensional beings already, right? We're not becoming multidimensional. That's not something we're becoming. We're not becoming multidimensional. We're not becoming fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional, seventh dimensional beings. We are all that now. What we have is a focus of our consciousness in these different realities. So we have our focus of consciousness, part of it is in 3D. There's nothing wrong with 3D. This is really important too. This is very important. All the dimensions have their purpose. And honestly, we're just making stuff up. We don't really even know how much there is. We've given it kind of a guideline, right? As much as we could understand at this time. So there's been this energy of like, gotta get out of 3D. I'm much more interested in getting out of 4D than 3D, honestly. But, and so Chris is trying to teach me to be nice to 4D too. So So, but all of them have their place, and they're all a part of you. You're not just a fifth dimensional being, a seventh dimensional being, or trying to be a fifth dimensional being. You are all of this right now. Right now. What you are learning to do is integrate those other dimensions into your experience of this now. Of this now.
And so that brings us back to what we're going to do next, which is open the portal again. We just did a little bit at the beginning. We're going to do longer and like bigger now with the sound. Because all these dimensions are right here. There's only here and now. Because that's all there is. We're here and now. This is where we are. All the dimensions are here now. All the star beings are here now. Here with us, especially right here in this room. We're going to open it up. Sound just opens up the energy so that we can experience more at this point. That's all we're always trying to do. We're always getting bigger. We're always expanding. The universe is expanding always. Scientists are like, how can the universe be expanding so fast it doesn't make sense with it? Because it's infinite. There's no limit. Our instruments and science telescopes can't fathom it yet. It's infinite. That's why it's so big. So we're going to open the portal to sound. You just ask again, you center in your heart. Allow what's going to come through. We don't know what it's going to be, but we're going to open the portal. And we're going to open it big. You take us along, come back. We ask when you're ready to come back. Center in your heart. You really you don't usually use the word ground. You like being out and way up. But we like being centered too within our lives. We can be both. And we thank all of you for being here and working portal with us, doing workshop and doing more portal, dropping portal 7 tonight, I think. We have a CD with this thing we do. Yes, if you want to go and bring it home and experience this on your own time. Some photos are here too. And I want to also mention that these channels have been coming through in opening portals, especially a lot the last few months, and they're realized that they wrote a book that's going through our, it's a channel. The book is called, the title came through, Pan-Galactic Stargating Transmissions in the Language of Light. And so we prepared this for this meeting this week. We had the first, I don't know, 7 or so transmissions in the booklet, and so if you want those, come into this as well. They're from all different regions. We don't know what comes through each time. It's Syrians, Arcturians, Pleiadians, Andromedans, Hathors, I think, are the ones that are in that. So come and see us after and come to the workshops if you want to do more.
Finished yet?
Wow. That was so fantastic. I do want to make an announcement for Anouk and Chris that they're going to have a display at front to sell their things and provide it so you can see. We got a Tiffany, Pan-Galactic Stargating Transmissions, light tribe portals. Very exciting, wonderful things. Thank you guys. I also want to, their first workshop is opening the Andromeda portal of light. The second workshop is the merging star beams. And that's it. The 7 o'clock tonight and 4 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you guys. So we'll have a few minutes of break and we'll have Granddaughter Croak and we'll be done in just a few minutes. So please stick around. I feel a little inspired. I just can't believe it. The energy was so exciting. I just love what you were saying about just let it happen. Who knows what it's going to be. Just, here we are. Just, you guys are fantastic. Yes.
It's right there.
Okay, yeah.
So you can either have a table and I'll put.
Oh, yeah. And she's
Because you're tall enough for the podium.
Sorry. Just wipe my face, my side, my driveway.
Testing. That song is for our speaker here, her sister, mama, auntie, grandma, whatever aspect she has on this little island. We honor her with that song. And that song is saying, remember your grandmothers, your grandfathers, they taught you your sacred ways. So that was to honor you and your spirit, your grandparents, everybody that you work with, your ancestors, Mary and God.
Awesome. So next up we have, so we're honoring granddaughter Crow. I have known her for a few years. I don't have your bio in front of me, but I know you're an amazing individual. And she's taught me a lot of what I know. And she's a wonderful mentor. She is a psychic intuitive. She does mediumship. She knows about astrology, palm reading, animal totems, pretty much everything on this entire realm, I would say. So she's an amazing, amazing individual. It is an honor to know her. And you are all about to have a great treat by listening to her speak. And her workshop is at 7 p.m. This evening. And after she speaks, I'll give a little bit more, some info on that. So everybody please give a round of applause to granddaughter Crow.
Wow. 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 Yat-e, they call me Granddaughter Crow. I am born to the Bilagana clan for the Taachini clan, a member of the Navajo Nation, as well as Dutch heritage. And if you consider that 50% Navajo Nation, 50% Dutch heritage, when you wrap your mind, your emotions, your knowledge around that, you kind of start seeing, on one hand, they look very, very almost polar opposites. But on the other hand, didn't we all sit in a circle, no matter what DNA you hold? Did we not all sit in a circle around a fire and share? I stand here as a bridge, a translator to connect with, well, whatever I can connect with for you and for them. But I want to kind of bring us all back. What we're reaching for is right in here. That drum is the heartbeat of the nation. Heartbeat of the nation. So I am honored to be here. There stood on a mountain a beautiful set of twins, a boy and a girl, long, beautiful hair. These are holy people. They stood there and we saw them one time. We never saw them again, but we know they exist. Do you know what their names are? Thought and speech. When we are in this community, we realize that thoughts are things, that consciousness goes, energy flows where consciousness goes. So we begin to take responsibility for what we're thinking. Yeah, we can change that up, right? We can surround ourselves with that vibration. So then we say, okay, thoughts are things. Okay, I'm gonna have a positive attitude. I'm gonna do positive affirmations. I'm gonna keep my mantras. I'm gonna be like, okay, everything is good today. I'm gonna go stand in front of the sun. When the rays hit me, I'm gonna speak a beautiful day. And that's perfect. The next step is to realize that thoughts and speech are holy people. They are sacred. They are sacred. Sacred. So I introduce those two. I do not know if God made man in God's own image or if man made God in man's own image. a little bit to consider there. And I'm not going to tell you this is the way it is or that's the way it is. I'm just suggesting to kind of break open our minds a little bit, because that's what I love to do. So then, if we keep the divine in a box, we don't recognize that the air is the divine, that water is the divine, that our thoughts are the divine, that our words are the divine, that our hands are divine, that those trees are divine. And I know it sounds like Granddaughter Crow is kind of going out there, and maybe some of these you're like, yeah, but here, let me stretch it a little bit. There is a concept about psyche, our psyche. So we live in a society, and in this society, we believe, we have adopted this worldview that I have a psyche, which is different than your psyche, which is different than your psyche, which is different than his psyche, her psyche, etc. And when our psyche gets out of balance, we go see a psychiatrist, we go see a psychologist, we go see a psychic, right? What if, entertain for a moment, what if we don't have individual psyches? What if this thing that we are recognizing as air is the psyche, and we are like fish swimming in a shared psyche? That certainly would explain why I would say something that you just thought, that you would say something that I just thought, that I could read your energy, that you can read my energy. Wouldn't that kind of explain it? I don't have any scientific proof, but you know what? Neither do they, saying that we have individual psyches. It is a world view. So I'm going to invite you for a moment, or for the rest of your beingness on this third dimensional planet in this lifetime, to begin to start recognizing that we are swimming through a psyche, and that when we give gratitude, when we say, oh, I'm so thirsty, thank you, that's a prayer. That vibration goes up. When we look at each other and we say, oh, thank you. Doesn't it raise the energy? When we say, oh, you're beautiful, we pick it up. Yeah, they call me Granddaughter Crow, and in many circles they say, oh, yeah, she's a psychic. And I say, oh, a little psycho too, right? But it works, they go hand in hand, right? So what I do is I actually teach a lot of workshops to help encourage, because let me tell you something, I know my mission. I am here to inspire and encourage the divine, the authentic nature of the divine itself that is expressing itself in each what we think is an individual here. Please, I pray to a lot of things. Now I pray to you. I pray to you. And that might sound weird, but you know what I'm praying to you? Please stand up. Please be all that you can be. Please be yourself in all of your emotions, not just the ones that are so much more comfortable. Yeah, sometimes there is a time for tears. There's a time where you shake in your boots. There's a time where it's like, ah, right? That's life force. Engage, embrace it all. I pray you be you, the greatness that only you can be. Because then you know what happens? The psyche elevates. If I'm me, which it kind of appears that I am, right? If I'm me and all my Granddaughter Crowness, and there is a really silly side of me, there really is. But if I get to be me, doesn't that kind of give the psyche what you're picking up to be you Bring it, bring it, bring it, because I love to applause. I love to applause. I love to applause. So I honor water. There's a lot of water around us. You know, we talked about water. I honor the air. I honor the psyche. And you can certainly, what I'm doing is merely laying out a buffet of quite a few different concepts. Maybe like I'm laying out different lenses and you can put them on, and if they don't adjust, go ahead and take them off. And if you are like, yeah, I like that, I don't like what else she's saying. Okay, that's fine. Because maybe tomorrow I'll watch this and I'll say, I don't like what I said. Maybe I should change that up. Freedom, freedom, freedom. No box. There is no box. There is no individual psyche. We all swim in this. We all have expression to give. We all get to do this. So then why is it that we feel so alone? Why is it that we feel as though part of us is over there and part of us is over there? And right now we're up on this hill, but tomorrow we got to go to work. Why is it that we're so split up? Well, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this during my life, and not just because it was a fun question to ask, but because I have been there and sometimes I still go there. What is it? Why do I feel so split up? And now we're going to talk about the 4 bodies of existence. Here's another pair of lenses that I'm going to invite you to put on. You can take them off when you're done, or you can wear them. I like to wear them, at least for today, right? So, do you guys know Leonardo da Vinci, right? And he has the Vitruvian Man, right? Basically, the Vitruvian Man stands there and we see pi and we see all of these different equalities, we see balance, we see harmony, we see all of this beauty. Well, there's another school of thought. It takes a strong mind to entertain a thought that it does not adopt. So you do not have to adopt this thought, but please entertain it for a moment. So with the Vitruvian Man, there's one part where the Vitruvian Man is standing there like this. His legs are together and his arms are straight out. This would depict our physical body. There is, if you look at the Vitruvian Man, there's another aspect where he has a second set of hands and his legs are all like this. This would depict our emotional body, the motion. He's in motion. Then there's a square around these 2 bodies. Very logical square. That would depict our intellectual body. And then you know what's around it? The circle. That depicts our spiritual body. So when we move in this world, sometimes my physical body is over here, my emotional body is over there, my mental body is already at the supermarket, right? And my spiritual body is, I don't know, starving on the back burner because I don't have enough time to keep up with these 3 other places. What would it be like if we were to be able to physically feel yes? The same thing, emotionally, yes, right? Mentally, yes. And spiritually, yes. We would be heading all in one direction, holistically integrated. That's what I'm talking about. So check in with your bodies. I mean, this is kind of powerful because although it sounds, it's going to take me maybe 15 minutes to explain this. If you start checking in with your bodies everywhere that you go, maybe your physical body is like, no. And your emotional body's like, eh. And your mental body's like, get to work, right? And your spiritual body's like, no, 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 you know? So it's kind of interesting because the more that we work with this, do you know what this whole thing feels like? I'll give you a clue what it feels like when all of your bodies are saying yes to one thing. It feels like falling in love. You want to be around that person. Your emotions want to know what their emotions are saying. Your mind wants to know what they're thinking. And your spirit is just like, we're going to have babies. Right? So what I'm saying to you is, I'm saying a couple of different things. One, I'm saying that holiness is right here, is right here, is right here, is right here, is right here. That we are literally, what if we were swimming in our collective psyche? Doesn't that make sense when you're driving down the road and there's a lot of confusion on the highway and you just want to pull off and you were totally fine before, but when you got on the highway, you're like, ah, that's because the psyche. Doesn't it make sense why when you come up here to beautiful Estes Park, you're like, ah, because of the psyche. Entertain it, entertain it, entertain it, and then swim with all of your bodies in this psyche. Please check in. May I be a voice for your physical body? It has so much intelligence that even there's a book called Blink, and that's written for actually business people. It's about your gut check, right? We actually have neurons. Neurons are basically, they send and receive signals. And so when you have two neurons, then you have what we call a thought. Well, you have a lot of neurons in your gut, and you have a lot of neurons in your heart. So this isn't the only place that we have the neurons. So give these a little bit of voice. So I'm going to ask you to do that. Give your gut, give your body a little bit of a voice. Let me see how much time I have, because this will be a fun little story. I'm going to do a fun little story because I sound so serious up here. Okay, this is how I know that my body has intelligence beyond my mind at times. So a couple years back, I had to have a surgery. And in this surgery, what they did was they actually, well, I don't know how much I want to get into it. I have a metal plate. So in the metal plate, because they needed the metal plate to set, they put me in not a cast, but they put me in some sort of a little contraption thing that I had to wear. It was like 90 degrees this way, or I guess 45 degrees this way, 15 degrees, 45 degrees, 15, 35, I don't know if they're, anyway, this way and this way, right? And I wasn't allowed to move it. And this cast or whatever it was, this plastic thing was very, very painful. And it actually was all the way up my arm. And did you know where we call the funny bone? Did you know that there is the most superficial nerve in the body is right there? I found this out. Superficial meaning closest to the surface, right? So this plastic thing was rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing all night long. So much so that I started getting, has anybody had nerve pain? Has anybody been struck by lightning? Because it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. So what happened is I'm sleeping and jolt up out of bed just in intense amount of pain because it's like lightning is shooting down my arm. And my body jumps up, runs to my sock drawer. I open up my sock drawer. I'm not even awake yet. And I'm searching through my sock drawer and I can't find what I'm looking for. And I start waking up and I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? Is this really driving me mad? What am I doing in my sock drawer? So I close it, I go lay down, I'm like, okay, breathe, do your breathing exercises, okay, okay. And then all of a sudden another jolt, and it jolts my body up. I run over to my sock drawer, I open my sock drawer, and I'm looking through and looking through and looking through. And I'm like, wow, what am I doing? And I set it down and I'm like, okay, I have got to wake up and figure out what I'm gonna do. This is intense. So I decided to go downstairs for a few moments, try and wake up a little bit. And I sat down on my couch and I loosened up that, I don't know what you call it, contraption thingy. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, let's think. What does this feel like? And I'm like, well, it feels like an old pair of plastic shoes is what it feels like. It's like, oh, what would help it if you had an old pair of plastic shoes? I'm like, oh, you know those gel cushions that you buy in my sock drawer. So I run upstairs, I dig in there, I find these little gel inserts, I stick it in there. Of course, I went to the doctor that day and they readjusted it. That was my body. That wasn't even in my head. That was my body. I hope that I can be a voice for your body. There is intelligence there. Sometimes it tells you that you're hungry. Sometimes it tells you you need to sleep. Sometimes it tells you get in the sock drawer. It's going to relieve your pain, right? So listen to your body. Listen to your body. There's a lot of intelligence there. Neurons, etc. So emotional bodies as well. I mean, it's kind of interesting because if we kind of look at the world, maybe just from a 100-year perspective, Henry Ford, and in business, we are, kind of doing, the, what do you call that? That where you work and no, nobody's going to help me with that one. The what? Assembly line, thank you. Yay, you guys are listening. Okay, so the assembly line, and so now all of a sudden we're motorized and we have numbers, and you work from, when you first get a job, and hopefully you'll retire from, Ford Motor Company. Now the next thing that you know it, we're starting to go, wait a second, we're starting to get a little bit more creative. We have a couple of more generations coming in, a little bit more star beings coming in, and then now all of a sudden we're at a place in about the 1980s that they came up with this word called emotional intelligence. Who ever thought that emotions could have intelligence before 1980? And the book written by Daniel Goldman. Well, it was introduced into the business world. So that means that it's logical and accepted by the box or the system. So it's like, okay, well, I don't know about you. I'm older than 1980. I wasn't born past then. I was born before then. I've known about emotional intelligence my whole life. But what I'm suggesting to you is that we didn't give it credit. We always put it on the back burner. We're like, no, you're too emotional. No, don't cry, don't cry. You don't know what you're doing. All of a sudden, just think about it. Emotional body, dying, suffocating, not fed, not seen. And some of our emotional intelligence, I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of the word empath or highly sensitive person. Highly sensitive person is a phrase that's coined by Dr. Erin, and she talks about all of it. Being an empath is another. Do you know where the word empath actually came from as identifying a person? Star Trek. Empathy has been around, but actually calling somebody an empath didn't come around until they introduced it, and now at the next generation, Counselor Troy, hello, total empath, right? She's like, no, Captain, I'm feeling that they have bad vibes. They're, it's true, you guys. And then it came mainstream, and then the metaphysical and the spiritual community started picking it up, and all of a sudden, now we're kind of looking at ourselves and we're recognizing that we have degrees of emotional intelligence, so much so that we can pick up each other's emotions, pick up each other's thoughts. How are we doing that? Oh, I don't know, Granddaughter Crow. Maybe we live in a psyche together. Maybe we make waves for each other. Isn't it kind of interesting? And again, take as much as you wish, throw the rest away, because I have no problem being called crazy. I know. In fact, I love it. So basically what we're looking at is, I speak on behalf of our heart and that drum. That drum is our heartbeat. It brings us into rhythm together, to sit in circle together, and it builds all of our bodies. Physically, you feel it. Emotionally, you feel it. Mentally, you're hearing it. It puts you in meditative state. Even probably it drops you to alpha state from beta state, maybe even theta. You start traveling and journeying. Spiritually, you hear that drum. All four bodies hear that drum. All four bodies hear that drum. So nevertheless, I speak on behalf of your physical body, your emotional body, and then your mental body, Yes, I'm not going to diss our mental body. Our mental body is very, very strong, very, very powerful, but it isn't the only intelligence that we have. In fact, maybe it is a receiver. There is a difference. I want to introduce the word dialogue. Now, we all know what dialogue is. It sounds like a conversation, but it's a little different. Again, there is a book by the name, written by David Bohm, B-O-H-M. If you Google David Bohm, you guys would be really impressed with his mental intelligence. Basically, he was kicked out of, I don't know, countries because he was scary. He had so much intellect. So what David Bohm says, I don't kick him out, right? I don't know, but what he says is that a dialogue, the definition of dialogue is that we agree together to think together. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're always going to see the same side or the same point. In fact, dialogue without a little bit of friction of, no, I don't see that, no, I see this, that's what dialogue is. What we do is we sit in a circle and I tell you my perspective only from this side of the circle. But I want to know what it looks like from that side of the circle, because you're seeing something very different than me. And then we start melding it. And then I want to know what's going on that side of the circle over there, even if it's the opposite from me. In fact, I hope it is. And I want to know what's going on right there in that side of the circle, that side of the circle. And then all of a sudden we get more of a larger mind. What actually, if you've ever sat in a dialogue circle, it feels, and maybe you guys have related to this without sitting in a dialogue circle, it feels like there is an intelligence that's hovering right above us and that we're drawing from it and feeding it. And it's like, wait, did you say that? No, wait, did you say that? No, I just thought that. How did you know that? How did you know that? Oh my God, you're blowing my mind. And they're like, no, you're blowing my mind. That's that. That's that. It is a body in and of itself. And the galactic beings come in, and the nature beings come in, all of the angels come in. However it is that the divine is revealing itself to you, comes in, and we all gain, again, from the spiritual circle. So then again, let's talk about spirit, because that's what we're doing up here. Spirit has a lot of intelligence. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It was said earlier today that we can travel past and future. And some people said, oh, yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to prove it to you, okay? It'll take me 2 seconds. What did you have for breakfast? Where were you? What did it taste like? What were you wearing? Who were you with? Boom, you were at breakfast just now. Okay, come on back, because I need you guys to be here with me. What are you going to have for dinner? I don't know, but do you know where you're going to go? Who you're going to share it with? How are you doing that? I can see myself walking down the path because I'm there. It's not as difficult as we make it sound. We travel. Time is an illusion. And my father says this, and I love to say this. We talk so intelligently about all of our confusions. But when you ask, what do you know? Do you know what you know? Know what you know, even if it's one thing. Know it, know it, know it. So that's always fun, isn't it? So I hope that you can take some of this with you. On one hand, I am shifting a little bit of worldview, saying that I don't have an individual psyche, that I'm actually swimming in your psyche, in our psyche, right? It actually works for me. It's really kind of easy. I mean, even people who are half asleep or spiritually asleep, they can walk down the grocery store, especially women, and go, oh, no, you're not, honey, I'm going to get in there first. We're talking to each other without even looking at each other. It's so true. We do it all the time. And then we're like, oh, that car wants to get ahead. I know their blinker isn't on. You know, we're talking with the energy all the time. We know. So start kind of relying on that, right? Rely on that. It's not as difficult as we are making it sound. We're just learning how to interpret it into this day and age. We've been doing this. You guys have been doing this, right? Does it make sense? Cool. Okay, so here's the funny thing. I love the Star Knowledge Conference. I've actually attended twice. The second time I actually went up and then I didn't get to attend for the rest of the conference. So I went like 1.5 times. Last year I was able to speak, and it is such an honor and a blessing to be able to share this time with each of you, with all of you, around the world, around the globe, etc. And this year I came back again. Well, it's so exciting for Granddaughter Crow because if you think about it, I'm a bird, right? And I'm a crow. I mean, how often do you hear eagles? Maybe you can hear a hawk, but come on, they even put soundtracks of crows in movies. Ha, ha, ha. We love to talk, right? So I'm all excited about it, but I'm also a bird because I love to fly high in all of these different realms and everything like that. But every time I come here, I'm like, Granddaughter Crow, this is such an amazing ceremony that maybe your job, granddaughter, is to ground people. And I'm like, what? Me ground anybody? Me? Hell, I don't have 4 legs on the ground. I got these 2 little stick legs and I'm flying high and I'm right? So it's very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting because what I'm hoping to do is not only give you a few little shifts in worldview that you can take with you from here. I'm going to ask you, please, please, please don't make this be one of those dreams that you experienced one time and you come off this mountain and you forgot what happened. Please write it down. Please write it down. Please implement it into your life. Please grab it and make it mean something. It means something now. We're looking at each other and we're like, oh, this is so cool. And tonight we'll be like, whoa, look at that. And we can see the tree and we're like, ah, brother tree. And then we are on the highway and we get into the city and we're like, well, I got reception. Wonder how Facebook's doing. Oh, did you see this? Oh yeah, shh, I'm on the phone. There's a tree, whatever. Yeah, I know. So don't do that, please, 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 please. And the way that I'm trying to express this is to bring an awareness, a voice to your own physical body, your own emotional body, your own mental body, and your own spiritual body. Allow them to talk to you every single day. Develop that relationship, and let me tell you, you will feel whole. And you will look at others, and you will be able to swim in that psyche, or you'll just be happy. You'll just be happy. You'll be like, I'm in the right place at the right time. Go figure. And then all of Bobby Joe's synchronicity, if you ever spent time with Bobby Joe, she's the MC up here. She's one of the MCs. If you talk to her for 5 minutes, she will tell you at least one synchronicity that has happened. I guarantee it. She is a synchronicity lady. Is she not? She totally is a synchronicity lady because she looks for them. She hunts them. What if we were to do that too? What if we were to do that too? So at this point, I'm going to bless this holy water, right? And I'm going to receive this holy water, right? And I'm going to thank each and every one of you for listening and considering. So now it's time to ground us, okay? I'm going to invite you to stand up. If it makes you comfortable, it is an invitation. You do not have to. I'm going to invite you to stand up. There is so much energy. We are living in times that are incredible times. Incredible times. Absolutely amazing. So how are we supposed to take this information, this vibration with us? Well, let me tell you something. The tree is our teacher in this one moment. I am a tree. Consider that. Pretend, if you will. So, from the bottom of my feet, from the bottom of our feet, a little door opens, and just like the tree, we begin to grow our roots down into Mother Earth. Bring your consciousness and your emotions and all that you have to that, and energy will flow there. Figure out, is it cool? Is it hot? Start reaching down further and further and further. Maybe you passed a beautiful stone. Maybe you can even root all the way to the core of Mother Earth. If you can do so, go ahead. And now start, just like the tree, drawing up all of that mineral, the nutrients, that power, that life force, all the way through your feet, through your knees, through your hips, all the way up your spine. Your tired backs will now get fed all the way up, and then now it's starting to come out like the branches. And all of a sudden, your consciousness, your arms just start reaching up, and they start reaching up through the clouds into the celestial bodies. Find a light source there, and begin to draw down that energy. It feels a little different, but it is energy and light. Draw it all the way through your arms, through your spine. Take it all the way down through your hips, through your knees, through your feet, and give it to Mother Earth. And then she immediately recognizes that, and she shoots up her energy. Now that goes through your body, it's through your spine, and you give it back to that light source. And then all you have to do is inhale, and that light source starts coming back down again, and it starts moving and grounding into Mother Earth. We are doing this physically, we are doing this emotionally, we are doing this mentally, and we are doing this spiritually. And as you continue to do it for a few moments. Do it for a few moments. And I'm going to draw up in a very beautiful, ancient, esoteric way. Urus. Urus. Do you feel Mother Earth? Urus. Strength above. Onsus. 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 We draw it down. Now it starts coming up again. Esau, strength. Esau, strength. Esau. And draw it down again. Eos. Eos. That's the horse. Eos. energy. I was, I was, I was. And now let's send this from our heart center to your life, to your finances, to your health, to your family, to the places that you go, to the people that you see, to the people that they know, and to the people that they know, to the people that they know. 6 degrees of separation. Start moving this energy around the globe. It is grounded into Mother Earth. It is high vibrational celestial source, and it's coming through you as a conduit out, around. Send it to the waters. Send it to the smallest thing, maybe that little question that you had. Send it to your life, forward and backwards. Send it to your past, 7 generations. Send it to your future, 7 generations. And heck, if you want to go further back, feel free. We are swimming in a psyche together in this room, and the vibration is strong, it is grounded, it is high, it is healing, it is love, it is everything. And it came from all of us as a community. So now that you know how to do it, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is go to the tree. You can do that in the morning. You can do that at night. You can do that at lunch. You can do it once a week. You can do it at any time. So really quick, if you guys are back in this with me, because I'm thinking people are flying, right? Continue, allow it to go, allow it to go, allow it to go. We're not going to exit the energy, but we are going to bring our consciousness. Is there any feedback? What words are you feeling? Because we need to interpret this energy into English speak for our left hemisphere. So what words are around? What do you feel? You went back 17 and forward 17 generations just for balance, and you felt, did I get that right? Oh no, you felt grand, grand, grand. Are you feeling grounded? You feel grounded? Does anybody feel like they're flying high? Do you feel both? Do you feel like I'm being silly? Yay! Do you feel balanced? Do you feel re-energized? Do you feel calm but awake? Ta-da! That's not Granddaughter Crow, honey. That's the tree. That's the tree. That's the tree. That's the tree. And then the tree talks. Oh no, that's the raven in the tree, right? I love it, and I love you. I love you. Collectively, individually, the authentic expression of the divine itself radiating through you, different colors of hair, different shapes and sizes, just like stones. It's awesome. Yeah. So I'll give you a little break. You can feel free to sit down. I'm going to entertain you with one more thought. Now that I got you grounded, I'm going to get you back up there again, right? So check this out. Mistakes, shame, guilt, hide, ashamed, closets. I screwed up. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. No more of that. Do you know that all of that you've labeled, or that the world around you has labeled as that, does not exist? Because what I see is people going through initiations to earn medicine. Somebody's taken one of my workshops and knows what I was talking about. The rest of you are like, what? Right? We earn the medicine that we carry. We earn the medicine that we carry. If you have ever been in a situation, a heartbreak, either side, and you learned how to get out of that and extract the wisdom of that, you carry that in your auric field, right? You don't even need to talk about it. You carry the wisdom of how to get out of heartbreak. If you've ever carried depression, if you've ever had or felt depression, and you learned how to get out of it, that's a key. You hold the keys to getting out of depression. Your energy knows it now, and it will never go back there again. And if it does, you're just like, oh, I know my way out of this. All I have to do is look for opportunity, hope, go get a Reiki session, right? Start moving my eyes, looking up, this type of a thing, right? So we earn the medicine that we carry. If you have ever been incarcerated and learned how to get out of an institutionalized mind, I'm not just talking about the system incarceration. I'm talking about any sense of incarceration, a job, a cubicle, whatever, right? And you learned how to get out of that, and you learned how to raise the vibration. You now hold that in your auric field, and it, to me, was never a mistake. To me, in my perspectives, there is no shame, there is no guilt, there is no heartache. All of that was an initiation for who you are now. But please, my friends, don't forget to take the wisdom. Don't forget to take the keys with you. You don't have to repeat it again. Say, I know how to get out of that. I know how to get out of that. I know how to get out of that. That all is an initiation, and you hold that wisdom and that in your auric field. Do you know why I'm nice? Not just because I was born this way. Hopefully it's just the way I was born, but I'm nice and engaging and go for the underdog and talk to people and connect with people and feel your pain with you because I have been ostracized, I have been hated, I have been neglected, I have been abandoned, and I don't want anybody else to feel like that. And I worked my way out of that, and I've got the keys to know how to get out of all of that. And now they call me a healer. Heck, I thought I was just a wounded warrior. Right? So here, let me solidify that one. Let me see if the crow can ground you on this one. Caw-caw, caw-caw, caw-caw. I know, right? There was once a man. He was a lawyer and wonderful, wonderful man, Bilagana, which means to the Navajo white man, English speaker. And he went to law school. And what he did was he earned the title of a lawyer. He does mediation and everything, but he had a heart for the Navajo. The Navajo Nation sits on the four corners. He had a heart for the Navajo. Oh, I'm going to take all of this down to the Navajo. So he gets, done. Maybe he went to school at Harvard or something really, really important, right? So he goes down to the Navajo reservation. He buys this little plot of land. He has this little house. He kind of lives in the back, and he has a little office in the front. He puts up this little sign that says justice, and says mediation, and says truth and honesty, harmony. Come in, I'll show you all of these things because I'm a lawyer. So what happened was he would sit there reading the Navajo Times, having his coffee, black coffee, right, on the res, right? We're on the res. And it's like, okay. And he looks outside and he sees people driving by, but nobody stops. And he's like, okay, make a bigger sign, bigger sign. So next time he gets up and he's sitting there, black coffee, Navajo Times. Okay, yeah. Oh, people are coming. Oh, they're just standing on the property. I wonder if I should, they're just talking on my property. I wonder what's going on. I don't want to scare them away, right? It's taking me so long just to get them on my property, right? So he decides to put this big open sign. More people come, they stand on his land, on his property, in his field, and they talk and they leave. And he's like, what is going on. So he finally finds somebody to tell him what's happening. The Navajo said, oh, this man, this medicine man, carries in his auric field harmony and justice and truth and balance. No, we don't care what he has to say. He's not a part of us. Let's go ahead and stand together on his property in his energetic field of health and balance and justice and work out our own problems together. That's what they did, and it worked. We get so caught up that we gotta talk, especially me, right? We get so caught up that we gotta talk. I don't have to say anything. I'm carrying it in my auric field. You don't have to say anything. You're carrying it in your auric field. We know because we're living in a psyche together. And if you had depression and you moved out of depression and now you are doing good, you earn the keys out of that hell. And now somebody who has depression can be in your auric field and your energy will remind their energy how to get out. It's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. So I'm going to go ahead and close, but I do want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I am a voice. Voice is holy. You have a voice that's been spoken on today. Find your voice. Don't be afraid. It is holy in my eyes. I see it. I wear all these crazy lenses that I talk about. Oh, they just reminded me. I will not teach a class. I will not give a speech. I will not say anything that I am not willing to live, because it is my responsibility to embody it. Because then when I come up here, it's in my auric field. And you feel it. You feel it. You guys are the same. What are the initiations? Usually, here's a clue. Usually they're the parts of you that you don't want to talk about anymore. Those hard things. Yeah. Go back when you can, extract the wisdom, get yourself out of there, carry those keys, and don't be hard on yourself. Don't be ashamed. You just carry it in your auric field. Let's build our auric fields and move forward. So a couple of concepts. Again, granddaughter crow's trying to ground, right? So we carry it all in our 4 bodies of existence. Thought and speech are holy people. Air is holy. Water is holy. I pray to everything because prayer is basically like, please, thank you, I love you, I'm grateful. That's prayer, right? Not, now I lay me down to sleep. Or like my son says, rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. That's what my son says. That's his prayer, right? So, so nevertheless, carry this in all of your 4 bodies of existence. Be aware of all of them, feed all of them, allow all of them to have a voice. Do the tree meditation when these winds come through. And by God, be here now and lean forward into your life. Thank you very much.
Told you guys it was a treat. So let's give one more round of applause for Granddaughter Crow. Please show love. Her workshop is holistic integration of the 4 bodies of existence. She's going to be speaking about the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, and how to navigate on the 3rd dimension when the illusions are falling away, and how to assimilate to higher consciousness outside of this conference, so that we can continue to unfold and connect. I feel like that's really important because it's always hard for these conferences. Like Monday's always like, So yeah, definitely her workshop will be at 7 p.m. We are ready now for dinner. For those of you who don't know, the restaurant is just down the hill. There's a couple different doors down these hallways that you can go down the steps. It's a beautiful little walk down there. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, and check out our workshop. We'll definitely be back by 7 because we'll be starting. Oh, and Laura Eisenhower is going to be here. She'll be speaking. Awesome. And then there's also going to be another workshop as well at 7. Anara and Chris, who spoke earlier, will be doing their workshop in the Beaker room, and then Granddaughter Crow's workshop will be in the Lady Washington room over here. Everybody enjoy dinner. We'll see you soon.
I earned this shit. I earned that shit. I switch it. You see an I switch live stream to these that are. It's not turning off.